Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Music Business Live. I have joining me the first online CEO, the first CEO of online radio called Praiseworld Radio, joining me in this wonderful discussion. And I believe that we're going to have a wonderful time with Maestro Tola OMONIYI. If you're just joining us, please let's invite others. I can see Dr. Bolaji Ogunwo. Hello, sir. So glad to have you with us. I can also see Gideon Ikpefua. Thanks for joining in the discussion tonight. As I said earlier on, we have Africa's best online gospel radio presenter and the owner of gospel radio called Praiseworld Radio. I will be having a tete-a-tete with him this evening. Without much ado, let me see how I can bring him in. Yes, it's already on the platform. Please, Tola, can you come in? Or request that I bring you in? I want to know if you are listening and you're hearing me clearly. Anywhere you are around the world, if you're hearing me clearly, do let me know. Tonight is going to be a very, very, very important discussion with the young CEO of Praiseworld Radio. Trying to bring him in. Tola, can you please request to be brought in so that I can just click in and then bring you in? Okay.
Hey.
At last.
Yes, indeed.
At last. Oh.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. So glad to have you tonight, right
It's such
here
a pleasure.
in music business. I'm so sorry for the mix-up we had last night. I didn't know that I had initially slated you for Friday. I thought we were to come in for Thursday. In fact, that was what I placed on the poster. But unfortunately, that poster had gone so wide, and my mind was really not zeroed on the initial plan we had. I'm so sorry for the mix-up. But tonight, thank God you're here, and that's all that matters now. Can you hear me clearly, Tola? Oh. Let me try and bring him in. It's like we've lost him. Oh. He seems to be having a hitch with his connection. I do hope he will join us pretty soon. Yes, he's coming in now again. So let's.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear
You
me?
hear me? Yes, I can see and
Yes.
hear you. Can you see
Yes,
me?
but I can't see you.
Uh,
And I don't know if
apologies,
the
bro.
audio.
I don't know. I can see my image here is just still, it's a still image. Let me do this again.
Okay, we'll wait patiently because I know that we have a lot we need to really share. The main reason why I brought him in is because the world is going digital right now with the experience of COVID-19, and the internet is playing a very fast one in bringing to life our music experience. So can you? I can hear you, but
Yeah,
the image is still.
the image is still, that's what I'm seeing from my end as well.
The, could it be where you are stationed? Maybe
Let
a
me try
network
to
problem.
change.
Can you change position? If
Okay.
you can change position, maybe you do that. Yes. So it's
Uh,
very okay.
let me change my internet. Let me switch to
Settings.
another internet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. It's worth the wait. The reason why it is important we understand the way things go presently right now about the new normal that people call it is because we need to get into new trajectories in how we run business, especially from the world of the internet. If you are not careful, you'll find out that you'll go moribund, your business goes moribund, your knowledge goes moribund, and you find out that you'll not be able to make the best you should make because you are stifled. Your innovations cannot go far at this point because of the isolation problem we have presently on ground. There is no socializing, and as musicians, you need to socialize. And there is no room for you to meet with people and interact with them. As a musician, you need to meet with people and interact with them. And if you do not have any room for socializing, no room for meeting with people, then we have a problem. How do you get your music across? How do you reach out to people? How do you interact with the people via your medium, which is music? And that's the reason why it's very important. We need to find out new ways of doing things, new ways of reaching out, new ways of socializing with people without necessarily meeting them one-on-one. And the internet has provided that means. The internet has provided that avenue for us to be able to do that business. If you need to know, I need to tell you that the game right now the world is tapping into is the game of technology. And if you are not very fast in that game as a musician, you will lose out. And you will lose out completely. And when we talk about that game of technology, we are relating to the singing aspect, we are relating to the instrumentation aspect, we are relating to the aspect of publishing, we are relating to the aspect of teaching, we are also relating to the aspect of doing business, music business. Let's see if we can bring him in once again. Ah, God punish
Glory
the
to
devil.
God.
Tola OMONIYI.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fanboy,
Apologies for
no,
that.
no
I was just
problem.
trying to. I think it was the particular internet I was on, the wire I was on had misplaced.
Okay. Can you make use of the, do you have the, are you on hands free or you have the, if you do have,
It's not
because
very clear.
it's clear, but we find some interjecting noise that
Oh, okay, okay, just give me a
seem to
minute.
distort. Okay, find some interjecting noise. So Tola is in the building. We need to ask him a few questions, and if you have any question you need to ask, please do. Asking somebody who tried something very innovative when it was highly unconventional.
How about now?
Beautiful. It's clear now. I was just
Great.
telling them that you ventured into a business that was highly unconventional, and right now is becoming the in thing because the business of radio is now very much on the internet, and in an area where there is social distancing, in an area where you are not able to move, a lot of people resort to the medium of the internet to get their grooves on. Now, let me ask you the first question. As Africa's best online gospel radio CEO based in Lagos, how did you conceptualize this thing long before a lot of people even thought about it?
Wow, amazing. First off, please permit me to say thank you for having me today. Such a pleasure. I have to say this before I say anything at all. For those who do not know, so they can know, you know, we have like your biological father, then you have like a spiritual father, and you know, Dr. Albert is my musical father.
Thank you.
So, I
that's
always
humbling.
say everything I know in music today, everything and of course, when we talk about radio, it kind of has its base with music in some way. So everything I know in music today, everything I have been able to build from the foundations of music were laid by Dr. Albert. So I just want to take a moment to just say thank you so much for everything, and it's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, a pleasure too.
All right, so to Praiseworld, let's rewind to 2012.
Okay.
In 2012, there was no, hey, I'm Netflix chilling. There was no, oh, I'm checking out a series on YouTube. There was no, oh, I'm streaming on Spotify, or I'm streaming on Deezer, or I'm streaming on. There was no streaming culture in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who tuned into Praiseworld Radio for the first time on that Friday night when we launched were streaming radio for the first time ever in their lives. So it was a new thing. It was a new culture. It wasn't something we're very familiar with. We were, in fact, at that time, 3G was just coming in. It was, you know, your 3G would go up, you see Edge, then 3G, you know, Edge and 3G were still, there was that transition going on at the time. So it was a very new virgin ground. And there was not too many examples that I could tap into here in Nigeria. But here's the thing. A lot of times, because we are in a developing country, we have some of these things already being done in developed countries. So at the time Praiseworld Radio was launched, it was not a groundbreaking technology in some other parts of the world. So in the US, for example, there were thousands of online radio stations already in existence, but it was a new ground in Nigeria. So one thing I'll say about evolution, changing of times, and getting adapting to all these changes is innovation. A lot of times, the solution to our problems already exists and are already running in certain parts of the world. What we need to do is to take our time to do a lot of research, study some of these trends and some of these things that are working, and then find a way to be able to innovate it to fit into our environment. In the case of Praiseworld, it was something that was not really, you know, Nigerian friendly at the time. I mean, people will ask you, like, how am I supposed to even stream? Like, how does that work? There was Android phones were not even so much in the vogue. It was BlackBerry we're using a lot, you know, BBM and stuff like that. So it was all about studying something that was already working in some parts of the world, and thinking about a way to be able to make it work in our days. Think about robots. Think about certain technology. I was reading in the news today, Jeff Bezos is likely going to become the first trillionaire, the very first trillionaire ever the world has produced. And this all majorly comes from Amazon. So when Amazon had already started making billions of dollars, there was no Jumia. But basically what Jumia did was studied what Amazon was doing and tried to find a way to make it fit into the Nigerian system, into the environment. So that's the story for Praiseworld. For me, I found a need. There was a need due to certain clauses in the broadcast commission, NBC. We don't have gospel stations. A lot of people like myself were looking for gospel content, from news to music to videos and stuff. And every time we needed to get those contents, we had to do a lot of research, go online, go onto the internet to search for all these things. They were not readily available. That was a need. There was another sector of people, music artists. They were churning out good songs, or maybe, it's getting better, putting out songs, but the radio stations were not ready to play their songs because they were gospel songs and they were not like gospel stations, so they really weren't playing their songs. So we had a lot of artists saying, I really want to do music, but there's no one that's going to promote my song for me. No one is going to play my song for me. I tried it. Nobody's really playing the song. And so I got a hold of a number of these songs. And then I thought, hey, if no one is playing these songs, this is also another problem. And so all these things I'm mentioning here are problems that I identified that drove me to searching or thinking about what could possibly be a solution to it. And because I'd been doing radio for a couple of years before Praiseworld started, I've been doing radio. The best I could do on radio stations that employed me was Sunday mornings. So I do the Sunday morning shows basically, but for other days, I'm literally playing all the songs. So it was all about searching for a problem and looking for a way to be able to meet it, hence the creation of Praiseworld.
Okay. And now, why did you carve a niche for the Christian community? Because when you look at Praiseworld, it's like it's serving, it's a brand that serves the Christian community. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
why were you so specific about a radio that is meant for the Christian community?
Because there was nothing, there was no other platform doing that. There was nobody at the time that Praiseworld started. There was nobody doing what Praiseworld wanted to do. So it's more, like I said, it's more like I'm not even competing with anybody right now. There is a problem. How do we solve this problem? Who is solving this problem? Yes, there were a number of communities and, but there was no radio station where you could tune in and for 24 hours, round the clock, they are spinning gospel content. And like I said, the human, every man has a need for recreation. And this COVID season that we're in, this pandemic has further revealed that we need food, we need water, we need clothes, and we need a roof over our head. So let's say food, shelter, and clothing are like the basic needs that every man has. Now, let's assume food has been met. You have your food, you have a roof over your head, and you have clothes on your back. You still need stuff. In this lockdown that we experienced, you realize that people were at home, and you then realize that it's a lot more than just food, clothes, and a roof over your head. You need, you're bored. And that's because we are social beings and we need recreation. So it doesn't matter whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Hindu, whether you're an atheist, you need recreation. It's a need that we all have. So how do we meet this need? A lot of other sources and mediums have come up with, media had come up with solutions to these problems that were not in line with kingdom values. So a lot of Christians will still be forced to be able to meet that need by listening to stuff they shouldn't listen to, watching videos they shouldn't watch, and stuff like that. So, because it's a need that we have to meet. So that is the need that spurred that, because the Christian community needed it, and so we had to go out to search for a solution.
So Praiseworld Radio is all about churning out news, music, and interview that are tied along Christian values. And I believe that when you started, you must have met with stiff challenges, because not very many people will buy that idea of a Christian radio station that serves only the Christian folk. What were your initial challenges, and how were you able to surmount them?
Money. Let's start from money. 2012.
Money?
I mean, I
yes. How were you able to fund it? Wow.
Yeah, I quit my job to face Praiseworld fully. I was fresh out of NYC then. I had a job that was paying about 100 plus, 100,000 plus then. And I was churning a lot of that money into building up the websites and building up the internet radio and all of that. And it got to a point where I was trying to shuttle both, but the pressure of doing that, it looked like I wasn't going to achieve so much if I kept doing both. So I had to quit my job and face Praiseworld squarely. And so that was a 100,000 naira job slashed to 0 naira the next month. No, not even 0 naira, was minus naira. Why? Because I needed money every month to put into Praiseworld. We had internet, local internet to use. We had our servers to pay for. We had fuel to run. I mean, to run the generators and all of that. So it was not just 100,000 to 0. It was 100,000 to like minus 100,000.
Wow.
So funds was a major problem. And this was very independent. It wasn't a church-funded project. It wasn't a funded. It was an independent project. So that was one major issue. But yeah, it was a divine project. So God really helped. My parents were very supportive, I must say. And if I want to say, did I have any initial investor? Yeah, my parents.
Wow.
Every time I run out of funds and I don't have stuff to go on, they always came through and they're like, you know what? You take this and get this thing running, get it going. So funds was a major thing.
Okay,
power, you know.
Okay, power. Go ahead, because
yeah,
I
power
had
supply. Okay. Every Nigerian can relate with that. I mean, there's no power, you know. So you have to like run your gen and think about it. Some mornings you want to start off your show. You're about to kick off the show. You're all pumped up. You probably put out advertisements telling people to come tune in, and boom, the gen goes off. What's wrong? Oh, it's some plug, it's some this, it's some that, and then you have to call a generator repairer to come. You know, those were some of the early challenges we faced. It was quite exciting though.
Wow.
But thankfully,
you were able to pull through.
Yeah.
Someone from New Zealand is writing this, Busola Martins. She's a musician from New Zealand, and she said that the move you made was bold and visionary, that you saw the future. Now, what part of the future did you see that is now translating into reality right now for you? She said you saw the future. What aspect of the future did you see? Your projections then.
Right. I mean, it will be good to take credit for it, but that would not be very fair. Okay. I remember a friend of mine, his name is Omojua. I remember a time we were having a conversation, and then he told me, he said, man, internet radio is the next thing, man. It's the next big thing. You know, it's you know, we're just having one of those of our sessions where we just talk, and then he mentioned that. And studying trends is one thing, but the courage to believe in the possibility of that trend becoming a reality is another thing. So as much as I saw a future in this area, I must be very candid. The major thing that drove me was not even so much about the trends that I was studying, but about the need that I had to meet. It was like, okay, let me rewind to say, I had tried a number of options before Praiseworld. There is a particular radio station in Lagos. I took a proposal to this radio station, and I told them, I said, see, I would like to host your Sunday morning belts, because I'd listened to the station and I realized that there was nothing happening within that belt. So I said, yo, I will host your Sunday morning for free. You wouldn't pay me, but I'll bring good content to this radio station. And I'll ensure that I give every other radio station a run for their money within this Sunday morning belt. By the way, I was not new in the broadcast game at the time. I'd been doing radio for about 4 years before this point. And so I set my proposal out there. And the whole thing was just to meet this need. But it was not accepted. And the frustrating thing was they weren't telling me no. If they told me no, I would have walked away and just thought about some other way to go around it. But they were not telling me no. I was on this case for 6 months. I went back and forth, calling my contact in there. In fact, there was a time I sent the proposal again via DHL just to get the attention of I did a lot. Long story short, I remember this day I got there and the Holy Spirit told me, Tola, you have got to stop this. And then the Holy Spirit says, okay, so you've been on this for a while. You sent a proposal. Now, what you want to do, is it something you can do with Facebook? Share content, information, stuff, and all of that. Can you do it with Facebook for starters? I'm like, yeah. Do you need to send Mark Zuckerberg a proposal for that? I'm like, no. So start. And that's how I started. So the next week, I opened a Facebook account. I opened a Twitter account. And then what I was literally doing was trying to put out the content that I would have done if I was on radio via social media. And if I can tie that to what's happening right now for music artists, if there is a lockdown and you're not able to express yourself in certain areas, what you need to do is think about other areas that might not be like the stage you're used to, where you can express that thing in you that you have. But I guess we'll come back to that. So when I went into and then we kicked off with social media, Facebook, Twitter at the time, we started building a community of people. Slowly but surely, it was growing. It was growing. It kept growing. It was consistently growing. And then the Holy Spirit gives me the next instruction and tells me to start up a blog.
Wow.
And then I remember it was January 12, 2012. We started off a blog. It was a blogspot account. It was not even like our domain name at the time. And we kicked up the blog. And then there was more traction. We were getting more people getting connected. We were promoting the music that we wanted to do on radio. We were building a tribe by doing that. It was while we were committed to that God then gives the next instruction saying, you know what? Radio. So I learned a fundamental lesson that will never leave me for life. God will never give you the full picture. He will give you the instructions in bits and pieces and he will track to see how faithful you are with each of the instructions he gives you. So did I know the future of radio? Was I studying trends? Yes. Did I know exactly how it was going to be? No. But I was getting little instructions from God telling me, do this, and I was following. And the more I was doing it, the more I was getting results, and the more he was giving instructions.
Thank God for the leading of the Spirit in that regard. But of course, we do know that when we want to go into such a venture like this, we need to study from mentors, from people that have done such things before. Who were your mentors? Or you just decided to wake up and, dive into this thing without, studying from people?
Sir, I must confess, you just touched a very, very sensitive area for me because I didn't have a mentor.
Wow.
And it was very challenging because there was no one I could run to. And I'm not saying not having a mentor at all. I'm saying a mentor that is specific to the project you have on your hands, which in this case was radio.
Radio.
It was Christian media. So there was no one who had done anything similar to what I was doing at the time that I could run to and say, hey, Baba, see, this thing is like this, so what do? I didn't really have that. So that's why when people tell me people want to consult me for setting up radio stations, I charge them, sir. I charge them. And what I charge them for at I learned by error. Oh gosh, man. There were certain servers that I paid, and I was making payments in dollars, yeah. So I was losing money. And remember, I told you I didn't have a job, so I would think something is going to work. I would try it out, and then 2 weeks into it, this stuff is not working. 1 month after, I come to the realization that this thing will not work. Just move on. What happens to my money? Gone. That's why some of those experiences that I've learned, I'm like, yo, you want to learn it? I'm going to charge you for it.
Yeah, you're going to pay.
So I didn't have a mentor. And yes, I have mentors in other areas. And so what they can just do is pray for me, but not like give me professional advice as to what to do. However, I learned something that you might not have a mentor, but you could have a role model that could virtually mentor you, even without him or her knowing it. So I'm somebody who I've learned how to learn by observation. So when I have interns coming, sometimes when I have interns coming to learn under me, I tell them, watch me. Watch everything I do, because there's no telling to how much you can learn simply by observing. So for example, Premier Christian Radio. There's Premier Christian Radio, there's Premier Gospel in the UK. I used to follow Premier Gospel very closely, followed their patterns, I followed them so closely, you would think I probably interned with them. I have a good relationship with them today, but I didn't have this relationship back then. So it was all about studying from a distance and seeing, oh, hey, how's that working? How's that working? That cannot be compared to a one-on-one mental relationship, but it's a way to go. It's a way to go.
Okay. Now, when you started from little. In fact, somebody said that you were faithful in that little thing. And now Praiseworld Radio has grown into a world brand, an international phenomenon that people are, dying to have their songs churned in so that people can, listen to worldwide. Now, do you sometimes turn away songs? And if you do, why do you do that? Especially gospel songs.
Yes, very well. Unapologetically.
Okay.
Unapologetically. Okay, so let me use this opportunity just to say tonight at 10 p.m. We will be having an Insta Live session on Praiseworld just to address this question that you have talked about. So we're going to we will have like an extensive 1 hour just breaking down this question you just asked. So yes, indeed, we turn down songs on daily basis. Sir, first off, we receive lots of songs on daily basis. I mean, it's overwhelming sometimes. A misconception a lot of people have is that because it's gospel and because we're singing about God and love and is a spiritual song, then anything goes. No. No. So that mindset creates a lot of mediocrity. And for example, I used to review songs, and I still do when I have the spare chance to, where I take a song that's been released and I take out time to review it professionally. But certain people will frown at it saying, why would you review a Christian song? Why would you review a worship song? The person was singing to God. I'm like, we can sing to God in our private.
Exactly.
When you have to put out a body of work, you have to do it as unto the Lord. God expects that you do it with top-notch quality. So yes, we look out for the production. We look out for the overall outlook. We look out for the cover art. How is your cover art? I'm going to talk about that extensively tonight because I am angry. See, we receive lots of stuff on daily basis, which makes me feel a lot of people are not even aware of the right thing to do. Seems like maybe they're not being told the right things to do. There are certain cover arts. I wish I could show you samples. When I see these things, I wonder. I'm like, we can't keep doing this and expect that anyone will take us seriously. And the Christian artist needs to come to a place where you understand that what you're doing is artistry. What you're doing is professional. If you must do it, you must put in the work. David, who was what the Bible talks about as describes as a psalmist, we can tell that David put in a lot of excellence into his craft. So we listen to certain songs, I just laugh. Sometimes it's the lyrics, sometimes it's the songwriting, sometimes it's the production that is just terrible. Sometimes it's the content. Sometimes it's just empty. It's just shallow. So
wow.
You just expect that because it's Christian and we are a Christian organization. I mean, and you know, we Christians, we are very entitled. We just believe that there is a gospel radio station. I do gospel music, so it is your job to put out my gospel song. But I'm like, no. The thing, and I keep saying this all the time, good music cannot be denied. You can't. We are, like I said, we are social beings. We love good sounds. We love good music. Music is a universal language. So if the music is good, it can't be turned down. So if you put in the work and you do good stuff, everybody loves to hear good stuff. I love to play music on my show that people will say, oh, that was nice. Everybody wants that. So you have to put in the work. Yes, you have.
That's a good one. And in fact, somebody is asking a question here. It says, I released a song, Healing to the Nations, not long ago. How can I get my song on Praiseworld Radio?
We're going to talk about that tonight as well. So submitting songs to Praiseworld is easy, it's free, and if the song is of top quality, it gets our attention immediately. So we have a music submission portal. It's available right now, praiseworldradio.com/submit.
Can you say that again, please?
praiseworldradio.com/submit.
Okay. So
once you go to Praiseworld Radio, once you get in there, I just put it right there on the screen. So if you go to praiseworldradio.com/submit, you'll find a form there where you can put your name, your stage name, your song title. You upload your song directly to us, upload your cover art, put in the lyrics of the song, the press release and stuff, and then you submit it. Now, when you submit the song, it comes to us. That's where our music team comes to play. They listen to the songs, they review the songs. If the song is good, they publish the song immediately. So it's on our website. And then they send the song to the music library where our presenters and DJs can access it and play it on our radio shows. Now, we are upgrading our standard for music submissions, which is why we're having the Instagram live session tonight. Because there's some songs that were fair that we were allowing, you know, like, oh, let's just support them, let's just
manage them.
Yeah, you know, but we are like up in the notch right now. So some of those fair songs might not get a go starting from today. So yeah, but basically that's the way to go.
You seem to be speaking the mind of Nathaniel Bassey, because he held a session last 2 weeks ago where he said that Christians should start churning out songs that are in tandem with the qualities that we see in the music business right now. That we should do things that do, bring in the people's, that dictates the taste of the present moment, that dictates the artistry of the present moment, that also dictate the performance of the present moment. It's like the Christian musicians are falling short in that regard. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
He's right. I can just imagine if he has to come and hang out with our music team for 1 week and just hear.
Mm.
Because some of the top-notch artists also get a lot of submissions, like they meet younger artists when they go for events and stuff, and then they're like, bros, man, I have a song, go come and hear my song, go kind of thing, and then they're like, send me the song. So the person sends them the song and you listen to the song. So a lot of these A-list artists get a lot of these younger guys reach out to them, telling them, please listen to my song, go Frank Edwards hear my song, go Nathan Evans hear my song. So they kind of have a feel of what we experience as well, which is where I believe Nathaniel Bassey is coming from. Those people that send him stuff to say, sir, please listen to it, or hear me out. But the thing is, let's be real. If those who are, I don't see why Christian music should be done any less quality than what they call mainstream. No, I don't see any reason. It should be better for all that is worth. It's more expensive. I must be honest about that. It takes a lot of work. I must be honest about that. There's a lot of factors that kind of put the upcoming Christian artists at some kind of disadvantage. I must admit that. But, well, that's where we find ourselves. I should note, we kicked off 2012, yeah? From 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, there seemed to be a spike in the number of high quality material that we started receiving. So in the middle of all this that we're talking about, we must admit that a lot of artists have upped their game. A lot of artists right now are putting up stuff that will match and even beat mainstream music hands down. So that's another proof. That's another proof that it is achievable. A lot of young, and these guys are young guys. Young guys are putting out stuff that, I mean, they are teenagers whose songs I hear that blows my mind away. I'm like, this is good stuff. That also makes us understand that this thing is achievable. And if these people can do it, we should make it a challenge that will keep everyone on their toes to say, you know what, I'm going to do this stuff and I'm going to make it excellent.
And you know, one challenge a lot of gospel musicians have is the one you had at the time you wanted to start your own Praiseworld Radio. Funds,
yeah.
Sponsors. And a good number of them will tell you that the church is not ready to sponsor them. And they do not have the funds. And of course, the labels that we have all around are more interested in milking them dry. Now, what advice do you give to these upcoming musicians who want to try their games in this murky water that seem to be getting very challenging by the day, with all the bottlenecks you big shots are putting at them? What advice do you give?
I can relate with them, like you said. And I told a bit of my story this tonight. I told my story of how I had to leave my job to face Praiseworld. I told the story of how there were times that my parents had to bail me out with funds. I have been there. But while I might not be totally proud of everything, if I go back to 2012 and I see some of our throwback stuff, like our designs and stuff, I'm like, whoa, who did that? However, if you listened to our content in 2012, you will have no idea where we were. Now, I'm going to say this right here on Insta Live. When we kicked off from a container.
Wow.
The studio was in a container. It was a refurbished container. we were using, now the first time I hosted Midnight Crew on the show, there was no AC in the studio. The studio is soundproof. So where does the air come from? We had just one fan. Mike Abdul will bear you witness any day. We still laugh about it sometimes. They came into the studio and they were sweating profusely.
Wow.
And I still thank him till tomorrow that he came, because he didn't know me. I just reached out to him then. He didn't know me. He didn't know what Praiseworld was going to become, but he came through. And that, I will always respect him and Midnight Crew for that. They have a special place in my heart. So they came through. They were sweating. I'm saying that to say this. The odds were against us. But the content we were churning out was nothing short of excellent. We had people coming to Nigeria, maybe Nigerians living in the diaspora coming to Nigeria, and they're like, man, I'm in Nigeria, I must visit that Praiseworld Radio. And we try to keep them away, like we try, I mean, they must not come, they must not come, they must not come, they must not come and say our secret. But then they come through and they're like, what? We had a few pastors come through, and I didn't have a support of a church, and I attend the church. So everything the young artist is saying, I can understand. I can relate. I can relate with it. But one thing I want to say is a heart that is bent on delivering quality will get quality. How hungry are you? The same way we talk about, like, you want to buy a car. We use this example a lot. And then you go price a car, and then you step out of there, you start seeing the car everywhere. If you are all immersed in delivering quality, you will see it will start coming around you. The contacts you need will start coming around. See, I wanted to say nature, but God will cause those resources to gravitate towards you. But how hungry are you, and how determined are you to ensure that you stay delivering quality? I have certain artists I can use as examples today. I can name names of certain people who are doing big today, and whose songs we have been playing since 2013, thereabout, and they've been doing excellently. So what you need to do is stop the blame game. Stop looking for pity parties. That stuff is so distracting. Quit it, leave it. You see the people that you are complaining about, they will still come and celebrate you. Don't let that distract you. It's a disadvantage for you, yes, but there's opportunities in that. You will discover how to do things in ways that you would not have discovered if you had those kind of things. So leave those things for now. Focus on how you can get this done. There are a number of people who learned production and are producing themselves today. They did not plan to produce that. But they could not afford it. So it drove them to learning production. It drove them to YouTube, to looking for videos as to how to produce their stuff. Let me say this. Most of the graphic designs used on Praiseworld, I designed them myself.
Wow.
I never planned to learn graphic designing. It wasn't really, I mean, I have a lot of other things to deal with, man. There's so many things to deal with. But I realized I was getting too much problems from graphic designers. A lot of graphic designers were holding it down, holding me ransom. I want to do a design for an artist who's coming on my show tomorrow. I have to chase a graphic designer, and he doesn't deliver till like 5 minutes before the show. How am I supposed to promote the show? So I realized that it was a disadvantage for me. But instead of doing all the complaining, I started thinking about how to learn to do some of these things myself. But today, it's a skill I've learned, and no one can take that away from me.
Take it from you.
So don't complain. I know it's hard. I've been there, and I'm not speaking like somebody who never felt like that. But that is going to slow you down. It's going to drag you behind if you linger on it. Go out there and start to think about how to thrive, irrespective of the hurdles that might be on your way.
Yeah. Gracious Oni says excellence is extremely required in every creative field. And Ralph Harmony says, if you really want to go very far, you need to deliver excellence. How do you measure excellence? When you bring in your, when you are assessing the works that you want to churn out to the people, how do you measure the excellence and the level of creativity that is required to air a song on the radio?
I think excellence is a spirit. It's hard to explain. So when the Bible talks about having the spirit of excellence, I can relate because it's like in your DNA. It's not learned. It's not such of skill as it is a spirit. A man of excellence or a woman of excellence exudes it by default. And that is even outside of music. So I'm saying this in a holistic view so that we don't just trap it in the music space alone.
Okay.
Because if you are putting out excellent material and we still have to meet you outside of your recording, if what we find in your life outside does not align with what you recorded, it will still bite you. So if excellence was only about what it is that you did in that recording, what happens when a church calls you to come and minister and you are not able to perform excellently, or you're not able to relate to people excellently? Excellence is an all-round phenomenon. That's why certain people, the excellent guy is just not satisfied. Not like he's a perfectionist, but he's uncomfortable with anything that falls short of excellence. It's not so much about the money. You know, you see someone might just be looking at a particular stuff. This stuff is not aligning. It's not aligning. Or you see the excellent guy, the producer is kind of tired of him sometimes. Like, man, this guy is not satisfied. This guy is just, because he's like, there's something I'm not hearing. A lot of times, you see, like a music artist who has the spirit of excellence, you hear a sound, you are not a producer, you don't know about the surround effect, you don't know about the reverb, you don't know about any of those things, but you just know there's something all right. You're like, no, there's nothing. Okay, what is the thing? I don't know, but there's just something that's not right. The spirit of excellence in you is not at peace. It's like, this thing has got to be good. So when it comes to, I mean, sometimes I also review music. Sometimes I just go through some of this stuff. When you see certain entries, do you know excellence comes into punctuation? The way you write, how you use your punctuation, your commas, your full stop, your paragraphing. It's a spirit. And I'm not saying it's perfection. You don't need to be perfect. It's not perfection. Excellence is a hunger for that perfection. It's not that you are perfect. It's that you are hungry for the perfection. You're like, you know what? I want things to be better. I want things to be better. I want my music to be better. There are a number of A-list artists that are not even excellent. So it's not about that. A young artist who is driving consistently to say, I want to be better at this, has an excellent spirit. He's not saying, oh yeah, man, I had this number of streams on this, I'm fine. He's constantly uncomfortable with the status quo. He just wants to get it better per time. That is excellence. So while you know you might be work in progress, your stuff might not be all there, but the fact that you are hungry and you are stopping at nothing to ensure that it gets better, that for me is excellence.
And you know, my take away from what you have just said is this word: excellence is a spirit.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay.
And I think the issue is from here. A call came in.
Okay.
And after the call came in, I cut it off. Then I lost the sound. Just a minute, please.
No problem.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, it's good now. Yes.
So I said my takeaway from what you have just said about the measure of excellence is the fact that excellence itself is a spirit. And you may not have to be a perfectionist or may not have a perfect work, but striving in your mind to perfection that is the excellent spirit that every artist should actually have. And that's very, very enlightening for me. Now, I want to ask, if somebody wants to start off a radio online, a young man comes to you and he wants to start a radio online that is devoted to music, how would you advise such a person, especially during this period of lockdown, where there is now what we call the new normal to our lifestyle?
So since 2013 thereabouts, I've had quite a number of people, reach out to me and say, I want to start this. I see what you do with Praiseworld and all of that. I didn't really start consulting till maybe about 2015 or 2016 thereabouts. What made me get very serious with consulting for radio stations is because I realized a lot of people didn't know what they wanted. So they think they want it, but they don't really want it. So you go all out. It's just like you're trying to mentor someone. You go all out trying to help somebody through a phase, only to realize the person wasn't even serious in the first place. That is very discouraging. So I thought, you know what? I'm not just going to waste my resources and my emotions and all of that. No.
Energy.
You pay me for it. So Good. Whatever you choose to do with the information, if you choose not to do it, it's going to pain me. I mean, I like to see. I'm someone who over the years I've been involved in a lot of new stuff, starting off stuff, a lot of startups. So I like to see something start up and go big. It's something that brings me a lot of joy. So I'll be really happy if I consult for you and then your project really goes big. That's going to be a plus for me. But in case you choose not to go all in, I know at least I didn't lose so much. At least you paid me my money. Mm-hmm. But let me say something. The question a lot of people need to answer is why. Why do you want to have a radio station? Why do you want to start up an internet radio station? A lot of people don't answer that question. And that's why they fall by the wayside. They are not clear as to the why. Now, the reason to your why should be more than starting a radio station. The reason to your why, like I said earlier on, should be more of what you intend to achieve with the radio station as a tool. And so I have lots of experience on this. A lot. In fact, there's a particular radio station I'm consulting for right now. I just hope they are not seeing this video. But I kept telling, and they paid my money on, and thankfully they paid my full money before we even started. So we're good. So in case you're watching this video, I mean, I love you guys a lot. But I always told them, because we used to have meetings like every week, and I used to tell them, you guys are not serious. You guys are not serious. You have paid me my money, remember. So I give them assignments and tell them things they need to do. Sir, I don't know. The consultant cannot be more passionate about the project than the owner of the project. So why do you want to start a radio station? I mean, what is the why? For me, there was a problem that I'd spotted out a few problems, and I was looking for a way to solve the problem. And I thought, oh, this might be one of the ways to solve that problem. That was it for me. What is your why? And even if I'm consulting for you, that's like one of the major questions I'll get. Why do you want to do this? Because that's going to drive everything. The second thing is test the waters. I learned this from another, we like call him a role model, Victor Oladokun. That's someone who I might call, let's say I had a close connect with him, he probably would have been someone like a mentor for me at the time I started up. I said I didn't have a mentor. Yeah. Victor Oladokun has been doing this for a long time.
We have just 15 seconds more.
Go!
Yes, to go. Oh, you said we should test the waters.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh. Is it